Brittany's facing 5 years in a labor camp. This is not even a regular jail in Russia. She's facing 5 years in a labor type of jail. So this is a big deal. What you think about Lisa Leslie saying the WNBA told her to keep it quiet?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Like, who thought that Brittany Griner having vape cartridges would land her where she's at, you know? And a lot of the players spoke on saying they travel and sometimes they get stuff in wherever they play at, or they leave stuff in their bags, and they've never had an issue. But now Brittany Griner has this issue, but some people are saying it's more than just she's a WNBA player. She's lesbian also. And then U.S. and Russia are having issues. So it's too many parts with it. You're right, Ms. J. There's a lot of elements. At the end of the day, though, I think the timing with this thing is crazy because, like you said, you hear athletes talk about they bring weed in or paraphernalia in and out of different areas and never get caught up. The timing of the issue with Russia and Ukraine, it just was a bad, it was just off for her going into an airport. They're going to be doubling down, checking everything. So, Brittany should have been smarter when it comes to that notion. But what she is suffering so far, what she's facing, and the lack of attention that she's getting over here in the States when it comes to the media is really ridiculous to me. Like, nobody's talking about this story. Like how some people will speak out against certain things. I think people don't want to be blackballed in a sense. If they're pressing on it too much with it, they're fearing of not having a job, getting blackballed, and then it's like, okay, I went through all this, and it's like, who else is gonna get on the wagon with me and speak out? Like on social media, I've seen several NBA and WNBA players say things in regards to Free Brittany Griner.
Free Brittany, yep.
But it's like, you can't really go detail into it. Now, the WNBA players have known for weeks with this happening. They've known. As far as the world is just finding out. But the WNBA players as a whole, they said they knew from the beginning.
This happened in February.
Yeah.
The reports didn't come out to the most until the beginning of March. But you're right. They were already aware of that.
It's bad handling on Russia's part, and it's bad handling on the U.S.'s part, as far as her agent, the WNBA, Kathleen Ingberg, and how you handle some of these situations. You guys say you're in communication, but it's like, what are y'all doing to get her back here?
But I got to talk to the bosses, Jay. You got to explain to me, how does somebody get blackballed for speaking out on this situation? Because this is not an in-house scenario. This is Russia versus the United States, if you want to put it basically in that.
What does strength mean to you? Some say it's how fast you run a mile, but there are other ways to define strength. What matters is that we figure it out together. Fitness Together believes personal training should be just that, personal. Whether in a private studio suite or virtually on a live one-on-one session, your workout is custom built to fit your needs, so you can get strong, however you define it.
They'll say, "Oh, you're being too political." You know how they go with some people when they give their opinions on certain topics.
That's crazy,
LeBron. Bro. LeBron gives his opinion on something, and then he'll tweet it, and they'll say, "Well, what gives you the right to speak on whatever?" That's what it's going to end up being. I'm waiting for somebody who has a platform that's on a show to speak out and say what needs to be said. Candace Parker would be the perfect person, in my opinion. Because she's on there with Charles Barkley. She's on there with D-Wade. You got Shaq. You're on one of the highest platforms and on TV to speak and say something far as Brittany Griner.
Right.
ESPN is another one. You guys are not speaking on it.
What do you think about Lisa Leslie speaking out on this matter? Do you think she's going to face some backlash?
It's going to be some backlash. It's going to be some... It may, but then it may not, because she spoke on it vaguely and politically correct in what she said. So she spoke on it, but she didn't speak on it. And she's not pinpointing or naming names. So that's where I don't think she's going to have a backlash from it. I think it depends on who says it. Who says it and how respected is their opinion. That's why I think Candace Parker would be perfect.
This to me is we talking about life and death in a sense, man. Like this is not a average military average jail sentence that she will be facing or dealing with in another country at that. Nope. Russia's never been the best friends of the United States. Like she has nothing invested that they would treat her good or, you know what I mean, give her any special treatment. Nope. And the fact that there's not enough exposure being talked about or that she's still not here, it scares the hell out of me. I mean, and then you brought up the fact about, you know, her sexual preference and all that, like all that is playing a role, but you don't even see the LGBT community really like speaking out on this publicly, consistently. Like I don't hear no one talking about the Brittany Griner situation in the masses. And it makes me feel like, you know, like Lisa Leslie said, that people are being advised not to say much. And I'm just like, why not?
It's like, you hate to say it, but it's like people pick and choose who you want to help, who you want to back, because LGBTQ plus should be the main ones fighting.
Yes.
Challenge something scary. Challenge accepted.
Purdue University Global. Affordable online education for driven working adults. Apply now at purdueglobal.edu.
We are a place where creative dreamers go to learn their craft. We are the people who fill the world with entertainment and technology that inspires us all. If you are searching for a place to learn, create, and build your dreams, you found it. We are Full Sail University. We take dreams seriously. Start here.
And should have everybody backing them. That community.
Why are you guys not?
The WNBA, the NBA. There's so many different pockets of communities that should be speaking out, and no one is talking. And nope. I'm clueless on why.
I want to say everybody wants to be politically correct, and you don't. It's like the people that are outspoken on all the rest of the issues. Mm-hmm. She's one of your own, as far as the WNBA. Why are you guys not being overly outspoken about this? Unless your teams have advised it, and this is coming per top of the food chain for the WNBA. That's the only thing I could see. But as far as like Lisa Leslie speaking out on it, you don't have too much to lose. You're not a player in the WNBA right now. So that's what I'm saying. Her, Renee Montgomery, you own the Atlanta Dream. You would be a great person to speak on behalf. And some of these other people that have platforms, use your platforms.
I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to tell you the problem. One of the problems. This country that we live in, this United States of America, the people inside of this country are so racist. They don't forget anything. And this is why I'm saying this. I did a video on an update on Brittany Griner when this thing first had happened. Mm. And if you go to the video, just look at the comments of what people are saying. Good for her. Brittany Griner, I think, spoke out against something going on in the United States. I don't know if it was a long time ago or recent. And everyone in the comment section kept referencing, like, I bet Brittany loves America now. This is what she gets, this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting here reading all these comments, and I'm like, bro, how would you feel if one of your family members was in Russia right now in the middle of a war, being detained for weed, vapes, and cartridges? Like, you know what I'm saying? And talking about being facing 5 to 10 years in a labor prison. Like it's unacceptable, bro.
It's unacceptable. But I salute to everybody who is speaking their piece.
Yes.
I understand you guys, your hands are tied to a sense, and you have to be really politically correct in even the tweets that I'm reading. But you guys are saying free Brittany Griner. I've seen that all across Twitter and social media. So it's not that you guys aren't supporting. It's just that somebody's got to jump out there and really say what needs to be said, and not fear some backlash. That's what.
Let's get into the next topic. The NBA MVP race. It's getting kind of good. Before we even talk about who you think is going to be the MVP this year, Ms. J, Frank Vogel went on record yesterday. Feels like LeBron James is having an amazing year, an MVP consideration type of year. The Lakers have just not played well at all.
No.
Like, you know what I'm saying? LeBron has had, when you look at what LeBron has done, he's putting up MVP numbers.
Yeah, isn't he leading the league in scoring?
He's leading the league in scoring. He's just playing outstanding basketball consistently at that. But the problem is, how much value is there? Because the team
really
ain't value. You know what I'm saying?
No value. They're probably at best the 8th seed going into the playoffs in a play.
Right now, they like the 10th seed. They're in the last spot, and they clinging on to the play-in position. They clinging on.
LeBron's averaging 30, leading the league in scoring, but yet you guys are in the 10th seed that have to play in to make it in the playoffs. But you want LeBron to be considered for MVP. I get Frank Vogel's point, but we're always going to talk about, what you're doing helping to benefit the team to win. And at this point, it's not really benefiting the team.
Frank is saying whatever he has to do to save his job. This is just a kiss-ass moment for LeBron James. This is it. He got to go. He got to go, Jay.
Now. He's got to go. You won a championship with them. You were hell-bent on getting Russell Westbrook. The experiment with him has Westbrook thinking it was going to work. You're sold on Anthony Davis, and he's always injured. So, Lakers, you're pretty much getting what you asked for. You didn't want to give DeMar DeRozan a 3-year contract. This is what this all comes out to. You refused 3 years for DeMar DeRozan to get a guy that's injured and a guy that's been shooting bricks.
I still think the Lakers are a threat if they make the playoffs.
Definitely. You got LeBron. And you're going to fingers crossed that AD is healthy. Fingers crossed. You got Melo coming off the bench. You got Malik Monk playing amazing basketball. It's just LeBron.
It's mistakes, man. It's a lot of mistakes that's being made. When you look at the turnovers that Russell making, being the point guard, it destroys the rhythm that the team has. They can't get anything going.
No.
But I hope that because, in the playoffs, the game slows down. It becomes, a half-court game, and then when you're studying the same team, you're playing them over and over. You may have to play them up to 7 games. So I think if you have to deal with LeBron and AD and Melo and Russell in a 7-game series, it's not going to be so easy. I don't think you can just look at their record and feel like they're going to be a cakewalk, but they're going to have to make it into the play. They're going to make it in. And that's going to be tough. So I don't know, man, but I think the Lakers, hopefully they make it. If they do, I think they'll be a threat. But Frank Vogel I'm going to keep it real. LeBron is having an MVP caliber season, but in reality, the Lakers have no value. So LeBron, to me, can't be the most valuable player this season.
No. If I'm the Lakers for next season, I fire Frank Vogel. I trade Russell Westbrook to get somebody else. I trade Anthony Davis.
Thank you. This is why I rocks with you, Jay. Talk about it.
And get 2 players. I want 2 players that can give me something and that are not injury prone, that can play, that they don't have to give 20 and 10 a game. Between the 2, they can fill in the void of those. 3 players.
Because Anthony Davis' numbers doesn't make any difference if he's not on a basketball court. Yeah, absolutely right.
Why didn't the Lakers go for Jeremy Grant? Jeremy Grant could have helped.
That's true.
Maybe y'all will look at him for next year.
You're right.
Point guard wise, it's so many point guards that you could trade for. It's just
the Lakers don't have any draft value, so it's gonna be hard.
Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn.
I
loved you when you played for the Heat. You have not played one game yet, and we're 60 games in, probably, and you haven't played a game yet. And they keep saying, him. "Oh, you're getting healthy. You're getting healthy." You were a waste of a roster spot. We could have kept Darren Collison if that was the case.
So right now, as far as the MVP ladder goes in the NBA, NBA.com released their top 10 MVP candidates. So we're just going to look at the top 5, and you just let me know if you agree, disagree with the 5, and who do you think is going to really walk away with this? So we got Joel Embiid at number 1, Nikola Jokic number 2, Giannis at number 3, Jason Tatum from the Celtics at number 4, and we got Luka Doncic at number 5. Also, we got Ja Morant 6, Devin Booker 7, DeMar DeRozan number 8, Kevin Durant number 9, and Karl Anthony Towns rounds this off at number 10. Who do you think will probably walk away with this? Because I do like a lot of names. I agree with you, but who do you think is going to walk away with the MVP this year if they remain healthy, if everything remains how it's being played? Who you giving a nod to?
I'm kind of torn between Joker and Joel Embiid. I'm kind of torn between the two of them. The 76ers have a better record. Joel Embiid has been getting it done. Joker's been getting it done, but he hasn't really had any help. So it's like... And then I got to see, what is Joel Embiid going to do for us? That would be my other concern.
But this is a regular season award, though.
Okay, if we're going off the regular season, I would go Joel Embiid right now. I would go Joel Embiid. He's definitely deserving of it. He stood toe to toe with Kevin Durant, barking back and forth, in a good back and forth game.
I think if they didn't have James Harden, win or lose, if he played well, Joel will probably still walk away with the MVP. But because they now have James Harden, if they don't play well with these last few games, I think it's going to go against Joel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we talk about the MVP race, he may have been better off without James Harden than with James Harden because people's going to put a little bit more pressure on him. I'm going to be honest. If they could finish the season off winning, maybe not losing anymore, and if he plays well, I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Tatum steals the MVP. He's been playing outstanding for Boston, especially the way they started this season.
Yeah, because they were talking about like breaking him and Jaylen Brown up. And I'm like, I don't think that's the answer to it. Mm-hmm. I think they feed off each other pretty well. With whoever is the hot hand, they kind of keep going to that person. I think Jason Tatum's really coming to its own this year, offensively and defensively. 50-point games, 40-point games. He's scoring better efficiently. He's not jacking as much.
Right.
He knows what it means to be the star and get the team the wins. He's understanding of that now. Ja Morant would have been nice, but he's been kind of, out the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me ask you about the person under Ja Morant on this list, because usually when you go back, when we talk about MVPs, it's usually the best player on the best record type of team that gets the nod. Yeah. Devin Booker, the Phoenix Suns have been number 1 pretty much all year. Devin Booker, you would probably have to argue he's the best player on the floor for them, especially with Chris Paul being hurt.
Yeah.
Devin is all the way down to number 7. Why do you think Devin Booker doesn't get the respect when we're talking about MVPs, being on the number 1 seeded team for the majority of the year?
He's not flashy. He's not arrogant. He's humble. He's quiet. He goes out. He does the job. And he's a silent assassin. That's now, what it is.
Jokic to me is all of those things that you just named, and he got the MVP last year.
But he's willing to mix it up on the floor too.
Okay. Like, so you don't think that Devin is tough enough?
If Devin Booker go out there and elbow somebody or get in somebody's face, That's the thing. People want to paint Devin Booker as soft. I don't think that's the case. I think he just understands all the extra stuff doesn't benefit him far as making it win games and helping the team. So I can trash talk. Then I'm going to go drain about 3-4 threes in your face. We're going to win the game. We're going to be number one. I'm going to continue playing in the playoffs while you're at home. I think that's more so his logic to it. KD's been balling since he's been back. But people are going to say, well, you've only had Kyrie but a certain amount of games. The mandate changed. I think Kyrie can play at home now.
Yeah, they played, I think, Kyrie's first eligible home game maybe tomorrow, I think. Or it's coming up. It's either the day tomorrow or, Monday. So Brooklyn is definitely going to be a threat. I am concerned about Miami because Miami was the number one seed, but it seems like they are collapsing right now.
They are collapsing. But, they said that they patched it up. Supposedly, Jimmy Butler says that he got mad because Udonis Haslem said he wouldn't be able to play how he's playing now in his era of playing. And then Jimmy Butler responded by saying, you guys were only relevant because you had D-Wade.
That's a fact. And they wasn't even winning with D-Wade. They were winning with LeBron.
Yeah.
D-Wade was there for a long time and didn't, no playoff appearances, first round exits, which is the Lakers.
Yeah.
So who's going to tell me that Udonis, even though he's the coach of Miami, who's going to tell me he's more valuable to this team when we talk about winning than Jimmy Butler at this point? And we watch Jimmy Butler's attitude when it comes to teammates from Minnesota to Chicago to Philadelphia. I think Jimmy ass is gone. He can say all the right things right now because they're still in the middle of a run. But what happened on that court in the middle of the game, man, that shit is going to revisit itself, I think, in the offseason. Jimmy going to be gone, man. Jimmy ain't dealing with that.
Yeah, you can't be challenging the coach because the coach tells you you're not.
Jimmy was wrong. But I just don't think that – I don't think that the disrespect that he got from Udonis and, having Eric Spoelstra, like, they got UD's back. Jimmy has no win in this situation. And for you to be the guy that pretty much helped bring these guys to relevancy, getting them in this number one seed so far, I don't think Jimmy going to take that shit lightly. It's like a situation that with Kevin Durant and Golden State, no matter what KD did, that was always going to be Steph's team.
Yep.
So, KD had to leave. And now Jimmy got to be looking at it like, man, no matter how much I win, y'all never going to look at me as that guy. I'm 10 times better than Udonis Haslem, but y'all put more respect on him than me because he's been there longer. So Jimmy probably be out the door.
I just think Jimmy Butler could have handled it differently. It shouldn't have been handled like that on the bench. That you and the coach are going back and forth and that he has to tell you to just shut up because you're going back and forth with him. It shouldn't be handled like that. I personally say he should have stayed in Minnesota. Him and Cap. And if y'all could have waited, and now y'all got Anthony Edwards. And some of these other younger players, and y'all are playing very well, Jimmy should have stayed there. He should have waited it out. You got more respect, in my opinion, in Minnesota and in Chicago at a point than you going team to team now. They value Bam more than they value him. And I don't know if it's because Bam's younger and he's developing and he's getting it done on both ends of the floor, but it just seems like some of the younger players they value more than Jimmy Butler.
Because these guys can be controlled. Jimmy can't be controlled. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy will buy into your program, but when he start to see holes being poked in this shit, Jimmy don't stick around for that BS, man. He stuck around long enough in Chicago, man. Jimmy is trying to, control his own destiny, so to speak. The only problem is Jimmy Butler at this point is not good enough to lead a team to a championship by himself. He's going to need some help from another superstar. And the way things are carrying it, the way things are being played out, like you said, it's not a good look. And these other superstars are not going to want to pair up with Jimmy Butler.
No.
He may not never win the championship just because of that reason. But, a lot of blame to go around in that scenario. But I think at the end of the day, Jimmy ass ain't sticking around with that shit. He's gone.
Nah. Is he a free agent this year?
I'm not sure, but I just think he's going to fight his way out of that contract. Like we see how the NBA players do.
Trade. I demand a trade with the draft happening. I demand a trade.
And you got to also take consideration. You look at Kyle Lowry, like he still look like he's in Toronto. Yeah. Like Miami just didn't get anything out of him so far this year. So I could see that relationship breaking up after this season. This might be Miami's last shot for a while to be real relevant. Tyler Hero's playing well, but we got Brooklyn, we got Chicago getting better.
It's not like Brooklyn's not a team that they want to play.
Nope. Especially if they got. I liked Miami over Brooklyn, even when they had James Harden, because I had Lakers in Miami in the finals, because I felt like I'm questioning the defensive presence of Brooklyn. I feel like Miami is gritty, blue collar in a 7-game series. They going to play hard defense, so they going to have a chance. But you see that internal friction going on the sidelines, like this shit could cause a total collapse when it comes to the Miami Heat in the playoffs. The timing is just bad for this. Usually you have teammates fighting and fussing at the beginning of the year, and they use it as a driving moment, to motivate them to, higher heights. This shit came at the worst time.
Yeah, I watched the video of that, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Look what we done, because, Jay, we starting to see it a little bit too much. And we talking about professional basketball players. It's one, we always see players argue and fight, but teammates on the bench in the middle of the game, we just had Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard do this earlier this season.
Yeah.
You saw how LeBron and Isaiah Stewart, how they got into it, like how crazy that situation looked. Where they were opposite teams, but I don't know, man. I just feel like somebody's really going to get hurt because Udonis, man, he be acting like he forgetting where he at. Like he's a street dude, and you can tell when he gets upset, he just forgets that he's, in the damn arena. I remember him and Dwight Howard almost got into it a couple years ago. UD is one of those guys, but I wasn't jacking that.
You got to know how to set the tone with the team, but also remember the professional part of it.
Yes, and you got to know your personnel.
Your ass is not
going to fly. It's not going to fly.
Not on the court. You could have told him that in the
locker room. And you're talking to Jimmy Butler. He's not no pussy. Jimmy Butler be wanting that same smoke. You know what I mean? Not to say he is tough as UD, but that just was not going to end well. These guys got a lot of pride. And like I said, Jimmy has been one of the main reasons these guys have been relevant for the last couple of years. Not no damn Udonis Haslem. No. So, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, he may have helped for some of them post guys developing.
Yeah, but shit. Without Jimmy, you have to. Without Jimmy Butler coming to Miami, you're not going to the finals in 2020. You're not going to be the number 1 seed this season. Like your other pieces not even playing that well and even on the court. So even though Jimmy is not a superstar, he's one of the biggest reasons why y'all relevant. I think they should have a little bit more respect in the public when they come to his name.
If you're Jimmy Butler and you can get a trade when the draft happens, who do you request to be traded to?
Jimmy is going to have to internally look himself in the mirror and figure out what he wants more. Because if he's going to request a trade, contracts and money need to be out the window. Your only focus should be winning. You will have to be willing to take a major pay cut depending on what your contract is, how many years is left. You might not have to take a pay cut because the team you get traded to will, pick up the contract. But if it's a free agency type of situation or a sign and trade type of situation, Jimmy might have to take less money to be put in a better situation and just be a part of supporting cast.
Could he go to the Lakers in place of maybe a Russell Westbrook and maybe another player and play with LeBron and AD? Would that work?
I like
Jimmy
it.
Butler's personality.
I don't think his personality would be a problem with LeBron and AD. Them guys need shooters. It just seems like everybody who is a shooter that gets around LeBron doesn't become a shooter anymore. Nope. And Jimmy is never, he can score, put up numbers, but I don't know. I like the thought of those three. I wouldn't sneeze at that.
What about him going to like not saying that the Bucks need him, but could he fit in with the Bucks?
They probably would have to get rid of Chris Middleton, but Jimmy and Giannis. I like that. That defensive presence, I like that. There's a couple places Jimmy could go to help, depending on, where he's positioned at. Jimmy's like that 3.
What about going to play with Luka?
In Dallas?
Yeah.
I don't, the thing about Luka, oddly enough, I think if Luka's going to get it done, he's going to get it done by himself. We always talk about you need 2 or 3 guys to win a championship nowadays, but it seemed to me in Dallas, Luka, if he does it, it's going to be done with him and some role players that know their job and are playing great basketball at that time. I don't think just because Luka gets another superstar or another star, it's going to, automatically put them closer to the Larry O'Brien trophy. Luka is a different type of animal. I think he could do it without the superstars. He just need his role players to play well.
Yeah, especially Dinwiddie has played amazing since he's been traded there.
And they got rid of Porzingis. That was
he's been playing really good for the Wizards.
He has, but just the issue that he had with Luka, the beef that they had, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a thing. And that just gives Luka more confirmation that this is your team, this is your franchise, we behind you 100%. Let's move on. So, like you say, Kristaps, he's playing good basketball in Washington. Luka still in the MVP conversations, looking to be the face of the league sooner or later. So, everybody pretty much got what they wanted.
Ooh, what about Jimmy Butler going to Atlanta with Trey and John Collins?
Well, he would need it. Trey would need it because Trey is going to be a superstar in Atlanta, but he'll never win anything without help. You know what I'm saying?
That would be an interesting situation, him going to Atlanta with Trey and John Collins.
Maybe he could keep Dame in Portland. You know what I'm saying? If Jimmy was to find his way in Portland, maybe they could help Dame stay in Portland.
That's a fact.
Like that. I think Dame going with Kawhi and Paul George, though. I swear. I think Dame is going to wind up in Philly. I mean, in the Clippers. I don't know.
I like it.
Last thing before we get up out of here, Jay, I appreciate you so much, man. Just real quick, any head coaches that you feel like, we already really talked about one, any head coaches you feel like is going to be losing their job at the end of the season, or do you have any picks of any coaches that's not currently in the game possibly getting a job next year?
As much as I like the Knicks, Tibbs, I don't know.
So wrap for Tibbs?
I don't know how much longer they're going to give you with the Knicks. You got Julius Randle, the first year, he did well. He made All-Star. Y'all, I think, made the playoffs, but you didn't win. This year, he ain't really. It's been more so RJ Barrett taking the leap this year.
You got the Kemba Walker experience that went haywire. Like, that hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it's either Tibbs ends up jobless or y'all trade Julius Randle and y'all build around RJ Barrett. and that be your future. I like Julius Randle and RJ Barrett as a pair. He's definitely helped RJ Barrett's confidence skyrocket and him like up in his game.
Right.
I love that part. But if I'm thinking long term with all these young players that are not even maybe 23, 24, 25 to develop them, you may need to trade Julius Randle to get these guys to be able to play. So it's like, I don't know if Tibbs may be the coach for that one.
Okay.
That would be my concern.
What about Steve Nash over in Brooklyn?
Oh, he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Okay.
They're saying that during the point of why wasn't he upset about the fact of Kyrie? You were cool about Kyrie being a part-time player, and that was the issue for James Harden. And you seemed fine with it. That's where the issue came. You haven't really said anything in regards to that.
Because he's a puppet. Steve Nash is a damn puppet for
if y'all don't do well this season, you may get to still be the coach next season to a point before you're fired. I don't think you got what it takes to be Brooklyn's coach.
Frank Vogel,
you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. And it's like, who would really be the coach to come back and do it for the Lakers? Because they're going to ask LeBron about whoever y'all are considering.
Any chance you think Doc Rivers could lose his job in Philly if Harden and Joel underperforms in the playoffs?
I don't think it's going to be this year because you just got James Harden. I think that might be more so next year. I think it'll at least be a 2-year experiment. And then if at least by midpoint next year they're not 5,
that could be on the hot seat.
He's fired. He's fired.
Last name, Mark Jackson. We talk about this name every season. Will Mark Jackson find a head coaching position in the NBA next year?
Realistically speaking, I'm going to say no, but I think he should. Brooklyn might be a situation for him. Philadelphia could be a situation for him. Like, you saw what he did with the Warriors. Like, people don't want to give him credit for like some of the success and development and stuff as far as the Warriors, but that's some of his doing. That's not all Steve Kerr's doing.
None of Steve Kerr's doing. Steve Kerr got that put in his lap. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Like, and people want to make it seem like Mark Jackson did nothing for them. Steph wouldn't be what he is now. Clay wouldn't be what he is now.
Right.
He just needs a team to give him a chance. Brooklyn, I think, could be a good opportunity for him. I'm all for it. Gotcha. Steve Nash gets fired next year. Mark Jackson.
All right, people, we are out of here. Ms. J, let everybody know where they can follow you at and keep up with you on social media, man.
Talks with Jay on YouTube. Eccentric Soul on Twitter. You'll find me somewhere. I'm everywhere.
Talks with Jay, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure y'all support. Should be doing a thing consistently. Jay, I want to have you back on the show if possible. Either within the play-in week or right before the first round. I want us to do some predictions on one of the rounds. So I'll be tapping in with you, hopefully real soon so we can get back at it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, appreciate it. Good morning. Happy Thursday, December the 10th. You are now rocking with the best. Welcome back to the Best of 7 Sports Talk with 7 Mitchell. We live streaming here on our YouTube channel. Oh, man, welcome back. We got another season. The NBA is officially 24 hours just about away from the restart. Back at it again. The preseason start, I believe, in 24 hours. I want to talk about LeBron James load management, something that we really don't put together, those two terms in the past, but it looks like LeBron may be considering doing some load management. We're going to talk about that. Give me 1 second. We may actually get some more insight about that later on, but LeBron James and load management might actually be a real deal and a real thing in this upcoming NBA season. I also want to talk about James Harden having to get COVID tested for the Houston Rockets before returning. If he plans on returning, that's just a whole new ball game, man. So we're about to get into this thing. You guys just give me a second, just getting everything started. But once again, happy Thursday, December 10th, 2020, almost at the end of the year. Welcome back to the Best of Seven Sports Talk. We live streaming. I'm Seven Mitchell, man. Let's get into this thing, man, with the NBA. Let's talk a little bit about LeBron James, the Lakers, and load management. Now, y'all know, coming off of the longest season in NBA history, LeBron James, I believe this is going to be his 17th season. He's going to be 36 years old at the end of the year. The whole uniqueness of this whole scenario has kind of forced LeBron and the Lakers to consider, according to reports, whether they should practice load management this year. Now, in the past, LeBron has definitely declined to follow suit when they come to other superstars taking this, strategic, if you want to call it overall. LeBron has played, I think, let me look at the numbers. 1,265 career regular season games. He's already 33rd in the league most history as far as the most games being played in the regular season. Already a record 260 playoff contests as he heads towards his 36th birthday at the end of the month, December 30th. So I'm not really going to blame LeBron, not just because of his age, not because of how much mileage he has on him and how many minutes he's got. I mean, them guys just won a championship coming off of the longest season. Now, when we're talking about preseason games, that's cool. Primetime games, that's a no-no. Like, you guys got to suck it up. I expect to see AD and LeBron primetime every night. I don't really think that's going to be an issue. That's one of the reasons why I think they was able to get the championship this year. And that's why Kawhi and Paul George didn't. Kawhi did this load management thing for years, and they won a championship in Toronto. So it's not like, okay, this strategy is not ever going to work or it can't work. We've seen it happen before, but that's a different element. But LeBron, he just re-signed for a couple years. AD re-signed for a couple years. They in that mode of repeating. So give LeBron what he need. Give LeBron James what he need. I don't need to see LeBron all 82, especially with the team that we got now. We need to build some chemistry. Like, LeBron is going to be able to get everybody involved, make everybody better. That's a given. But Dennis Schroeder, seeing how Marcus Gasol is going to play when they need him to put up some points because LeBron is not in the game, let's see what these guys have now before the All-Star break. Because like I said before, I don't believe that this Lakers roster that we have right now, looking at it, I don't believe that this is going to be the same roster going into the NBA playoffs if they make it to the postseason next year. I think we're going to get some trades, a bit. I don't know about Kuzma. Schroeder talking about he's requesting the start. I don't know how that's going to play out. That might just been a thing that blew over, but I really honestly don't think that the Lakers are going to have this team going into the playoffs. So let's find out what type of value we do have in this year. AD can still hold it down. AD should be gunning for MVP anyway. LeBron should be able to take, I don't want to say a back seat, but, we shouldn't have to put this thing on the shoulders of LeBron. AD's re-signed. He got his money. He's a champion now. So he's going to be here longer than LeBron. I do think that it's not I don't think we should really fault LeBron. And if LeBron James decide to do this, this season and in the future, like I said, the Lakers should not have any worries the way they have built from the perimeter all the way to the inside. Now, the inside in the paint is going to be questionable because we don't have JaVale, because we don't have Dwight. But like I said, this is the time to see, what Marcus Gasol brings to the table. This is the time to see if Montrez, these guys can bang with the Jokers and the Jokers and, these big guys that's in the Western Conference, because that's when it's going to count. And I'm good. I'm good with LeBron not excessively doing load management. Like I said, all primetime games, even AD, even AD, even AD. I would not be mad if Anthony Davis took some games off, but not excessively. Got to make sense. But these guys had the longest season in NBA history, including the bubble. So many adjustments. Game 6 of the NBA Finals, they almost had to push it all the way to the limit. They got that done. Now, a couple of weeks later, we back at it. But as a fan, we good. The NBA season starts tomorrow. So, I want to know what y'all think about LeBron James and this load management thing. Should it just be about, I don't even know if they're going to be playing in the preseason at all. I know Frank Vogel had said that he does not expect him nor AD to play this week, at least in the preseason opener. So I don't know if they're going to be playing at all. I really don't think it's necessary. Like, we don't need to chance that. We don't really need to chance that. The home opener, yes. Christmas, yes. Like, let's get it shaken there. But once the new year hit, I wouldn't be mad to see LeBron and them take, a couple games off. Rotate. I think all them guys, the Lakers as a whole, they could take a break. But we'll see, man. This is the grind. This is what you sign up for. This is what you get paid for. I'm just excited. I'm really excited, but we're going to see what that's about. Let's talk about James Harden, man. The Rockets, to me, Houston owes it to their fans. They owe it to the players that really want to be there, that seem interested. You see Boogie Cousins, you see John Wall, it seems like they're embracing, H-Town in their new locale. Houston owe it to their fans, their community, to just get rid of Harden. I don't want to, it's easier said than done. You don't want to take a loss, but at this point, you're not going to get what you could have gotten, I don't believe, from a lot of teams, especially Philly. I don't think at this point Philly has to give up Ben Simmons. The Brooklyn thing is kind of iffy, but, Philly was also named in reports of James Harden being interested to go, but the way this thing is playing out, I don't know if Philly they may wind up having to, but I would try my hand in my first proposal for James Harden, not including Ben Simmons nor Joel Embiid. But, James Harden, he's going to have to take 6 consecutive negative COVID-19 tests before the NBA is going to clear him to practice with the team, according to ESPN. Now, James Harden, the 8-time All-Star, who has requested a trade. He turned down an extension for $50 million a year. Unbelievable. He did not report to the Toyota Center, as many as you guys know, on Tuesday, 2 days after the Rocket held their first team practice. He was in the city, reported, but we got to wait for these test results. And I'm just like, man, even if they come back that he's ready to play, I just don't like his energy. I don't like his energy. And the NBA is different. The players kind of control narratives more than the NFL, more than, Major League Baseball. Contracts generally are contracts. The NBA is a little bit different. Now, there's really no holdout in the NBA like the NFL. Let me explain. Some people may not know. When you are in the NFL and if you hold out on your contract, the time is ticking, depending on how many years you got. If you're in the NBA and you decide not to play, the time duration on your contract does not start ticking until you get back on the court. So it's like you're trying to run away from a team, and the time frame is never going to change. You're just making it longer, unless you, of course, you demand a trade. And I'm not mad at James wanting to demand a trade, but like, if this is your job, until that happens, this is your job. There's no reason for you to be at practice or not to be at practice, in my opinion. There's, you purposely making sure that people know that you out in Vegas. Then you got this little photo op with all Adidas, out with uniform on, nothing Houston Rockets. Like, you're just doing all this little, I don't know, man. Like, it's a new era. But James hasn't won anything. He won the MVP, but we talk about rings, like, he's just doing a little bit too much for my liking for someone that hasn't won a championship. You know what I'm saying? And when he's played with superstars, he hasn't been able to get it done. A young KD and Russell Westbrook, they couldn't get it done. CP3. Now, CP3 did get hurt, but, he really didn't want to play with CP3. That was probably the best chemistry. The person he didn't want to play with the most, they really got the furthest, but, they didn't get it done. Dwight Howard and him didn't get it done. And last year, of course, Russell Westbrook and James Harden couldn't get it done. So I don't know. I just think that Houston, it's time. I think they just owe it to their guys. Let them go. Whatever you can get for James Harden at this point, man, just be done with it. Rebuild. You'll still have a shot because the West, the Lakers are still in place. You see the Clippers, I know everybody feel like they're going to be dangerous, but, the Clippers are not no threat. I said that last year, but the Clippers to me is not no threat. The Western Conference will still be up for grabs as far as teams making it to the playoffs. So Houston still would have a shot. I don't know about them being ranked in the top 3, top 4. But, get that chemistry together. If John Wall can stay healthy, if Boogie Cousins can stay healthy, man, that's a good combination as well. I don't even know why James Harden wouldn't want to run with that or at least try that for 1 year. Him, John, but, that's an 8th, 7th seed at best anyway. I don't know why James Harden won't want to try this. New coach? I don't know. People would just be trying to, LeBron started this. LeBron started this whole thing with the players really controlling their narrative. And, I get it. It gets you in the best situation to win. But in the meantime, until those moves happen, man, you still got a job to do. James Harden not showing up, man, just ain't a good look. So that's my thoughts on this whole thing, man. Y'all got to let me know what y'all think about Harden, man. What's the best move for Harden? Should he stay in Houston? Should he go? Would y'all prefer to see him in Philly? Or would y'all prefer to see this guy, in Brooklyn with KD and Kyrie? It's the Best of 7 Sports Talk, man. 7 Mitchell. Make sure y'all check out the full podcast of the Best of 7 available on Spotify and iTunes. If you guys enjoyed this video, salute to y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Again, we're live streaming on the Best of 7 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the webcast. And you guys have a great morning. We'll be back later on with more talk from the NBA. But yes, LeBron James is definitely considering load management. I don't have a big problem with it at all, as long as it's strategic and as long as they play all the prime time games. Like, don't cheat me out of nothing. And James Harden got to get 6 consecutive negative tests. Shame on you, James Harden. You got a job to do, man. Get back to work. Simple as that. That's the 7 Sports Talk, man. T7. New Orleans is fighting with Portland. They both got 21 wins on the season, but I just see Portland.
Say it's all right. Say it's all right. It's all right. Have a good time, 'cause it's all right. Oh, it's all right.
Falling tremendously in the standings after the moves that they made.
Oh, I think Dave's not coming back the rest of the season, and they've tanked on purpose. Because if they get a top 5 pick, they get to keep it, and they know that. Yep. If it's anywhere between 5 and 14, they lose it to somebody else. And if it's anywhere outside of the lottery, they lose it to my Bulls. So they are tanking for a top 5 pick at this point. Dame is going to sit the rest of the season, rehab. They are fully done with this year.
What uniform do you see Damian Lillard wearing next?
Yo, that is so hard. Like, prior to all this Harden, Ben Simmons talk, right? I was saying Philly, but that was under the impression that they'd be moving CJ that way. And they would move Dame that way. Now they've moved CJ. I'm not sure that if Harden's on the table, you take Dame over Harden.
Interesting.
I think Daryl Morey has a big connection with James Harden. That working relationship is huge.
Absolutely.
And you can give up less for Harden versus Dame because Harden is on has a player option next season.
And Dame seems in his heart to want to stay and try to make it work in Portland. And James Harden is more willing to change locale. And you talked about the relationship of Daryl Morey and James Harden. Daryl Morey has been eyeing the Kyrie vaccination situation since it started because there was reports that, he was going to go for James Harden. And I knew that this was going to be a situation where Brooklyn, no matter the talent constructed, they're not going to have that much time to get it right. And to me, the way it's panning out, Tone, this team might be the most disappointed team of all time in the NBA if they're not able to pull it off. I know we talk about the 2005 Lakers with Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and those guys, but I don't know, bro. KD, James Harden, and Kyrie not able to get it done. Like they only won 16 games together. Like
I think that's what gives them the out. Because they were never able to stay all on the court together and stay healthy. And then this Kyrie can't play home games thing. And I think that is really probably the straw that broke the camel's back for James.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was speaking on that today. He is definitely disappointed with Kyrie's decision-making. I agree.
And I don't even think he cares about the vaccine or anything like that. He's just like 50% of our games, we need you because you're one of the best point guards on the planet. You're one of the best basketball players, period, on the planet. Yep. And you are paid as such. And that money could have been like 3+ role players that James could use to take the load off of him. Instead, it's Kyrie for only half the games.
Yep.
And that's just, it's impossible to work like that and win.
And now they're losers, I believe, of 8 straight.
Yes, indeed.
Without Kevin Durant. I don't know, man. I was never sold, to be honest with you, that Brooklyn was going to win the title even with these guys playing, because I just feel in the NBA in a 7-game series, you have to have some type of defensive presence. I know they can put up numbers, but if you don't have a defensive presence, I don't see you winning a championship. So I never was really honestly sold on Brooklyn winning the whole thing, but just to see how the chemistry, or the lack of, is kind of demising this organization, man. It's just something that I don't think I've ever seen before, man, with this type of talent.
I mean, I picked, even after this trade, the Sixers to win the championship last year. Big disappointment. That's fine. I will say that I thought it could work because James Harden proved that he has the most versatile game of any NBA superstar. He shifted from the dribble out person in Houston to just like, I will sacrifice scoring 10 extra points a game to get everybody involved.
Correct. He's definitely becoming more of a floor general. So I definitely appreciate him adding that element to his game. You mentioned that you're a Bulls fan. What do you think about Chicago's run? I know y'all guys are a little bit banged up in some key positions, but Chicago is looking different this year, man. How you feel about your Bulls?
Man, I love it. I feel like we have been deprived of what successful Bulls team for some point in time. Basically, as soon as we traded Jimmy Butler, we went from a perennial playoff team to perennially at the bottom of the East.
Yep.
And I think we were so excited at the beginning of this year to be at number 1, to be running the table, that now there's a lot of impatience going on with the Bulls because of these injuries. Like, we missing Lonzo Caruso, Patrick Williams, DJJ. We just got Devontae Green back. Yep. It's tough. But I feel like we are in a very good place. This team, when everybody was healthy and on the floor, looked like one of the best teams in the NBA by far, and a championship contender. While I do think we need to add a backup center or power forward, someone with, like, that defensive presence that you were talking about, right, to make that final run.
Correct.
On the front court, because we got it in the back court in spades. Like, we were one of the worst teams defensively last year. We went out and got 2 defensive guards. We just need that one in the front court, and I think we are set. I'm super excited to just be a Bulls fan right now. It's wild.
That's crazy, man, because, you hit it right on the head. I remember, going into the regular season, talking about predictions, I said I felt like Chicago needed that rim protection. That's what they were missing, and I wasn't sold that they were big enough to bang with the Embiids and the Giannis's when it come down to these 7-game series. But, you know, when you look at some of the other teams in the Eastern Conference that made the playoffs last year, they're playing shaky. You know, the Knicks and Atlanta, Boston is a roller coaster team. So Chicago, like you said, is in a great space right now. It could be better. But, you know, as far as projection and potential, it's looking up for you guys.
I'm excited, man. I'm like, this is probably the highest potential Bulls team since D Rose first tore his ACL. That's 2012.
Yep.
That's a decade ago.
That's crazy. Now, there was another big-time trade that went down today involving the Indiana Pacers and the Sacramento Kings. And this is kind of making social media in the uproar because people want to know what the hell Sacramento was thinking. So Sacramento, they picked up Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday in exchange for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. What do you think about this blockbuster type of trade, to be honest?
Okay, so before I give you my real opinion here, because I've said this to a couple of people and no one agrees with me. Who do you think won this trade?
I'm going to be honest. Everyone feels like Indiana has won this trade, but I feel like Sacramento did the right thing. And Sabonis, to me, is proven. What the Pacers received, Buddy Hield is a good player. And, you know, Halliburton, his last 20 games, he's averaged over 17 points. But Tristan Thompson is no one. I feel like the Kings may make out.
Okay, we are on the same page. Everybody thinks the Pacers fleeced the Kings. And as soon as I saw this trade, I was like, oh, this is a really good trade for the Kings.
Yes.
Tristan Thompson, expiring contract. He's out of there at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield is a good player, a fantastic spot-up three-point shooter, is not a good defender, is also paid the same amount of money as Domantas Sabonis.
Correct.
Their contracts exactly match up. And you're telling me that
Build your brand online with a beautiful logo. Just go to Wix Logo Maker. To start, type the business name and add the tagline. It's for a pet supplies shop, so it's gotta be fun, playful, and fresh. Then, help Wix Logo Maker understand your style. Choose where you'll use it.